Well, I've got a really easy question for you today. What do men in their 50s want in a woman?
That's a good one.
Thank you so much for joining us again on Second Act TV. Once again, I want to welcome back Robert Manni, the host of Guys Guy Radio and TV and the author of the Guys Guide to Love. Got it sitting right over here. Robert, thank you so much for being here again.
Great to see you, Silka. Thanks for having me back.
Well, I've got a really easy question for you today. What do men in their 50s want in a woman? I mean, this is a big question, especially as we're starting over again after 50.
Mhm.
Some things have changed, some have stayed the same, but the nature and the nuance to which things have changed is really important to understand. So that's what we want to talk about today. The article that I'm referring to here, and I'll link to it as well, is that one of the key things that has changed, and I'm asking you, is really the importance of compatibility.
I think that's key. I mean, there's men in their 50s and there's men over 50, which could be
Mhm.
60s and 70s,
Right.
etc. And our life passages and stages are different from everybody because we go through different things happen at different times for different people. However, by the time guys get and women get to 50, they've had some real life experiences. So in terms of relationships, I think at that point, the fast and fun and the quickies and all that stuff, they probably have been put to the side a little bit, and it's more of a focus on compatibility,
Yeah.
emotional, and just having fun with your partner, somebody who's your best friend you want to hang out with, because you're
Mhm.
going to be spending probably the majority of your time with your partner when you're in a relationship over 50, and you want to have your other interests, of course, too, but the main person you're going to be hanging with is probably your
Mhm.
partner, and so
Mhm.
you want to be simpatico on an emotional level as well as an intellectual level, as well as a physical level.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you threw out, or that emotional compatibility came to mind first for you, because that is essentially what we're going to concentrate on today. That really the physical, the sexual, the intellectual, spiritual compatibility,
Mm-hmm.
that's all important. But if the emotional compatibility doesn't work, it's probably not going to work. So let's talk about really what emotional, compatibility is made of. They recommend here that in order to gauge, and that's really women, we're talking to women now, it's up to you to sort of determine, is he emotionally ready for a relationship? That's probably one of the best questions to ask.
First of all, everybody has to look at themselves. We all over 50, everybody's got life experience, and that means there's going to be some baggage, and everybody's been hurt, and everybody's hurt other people. But the X factor is how you deal with life, how the person has been able to, uh, you know, handle things. And obviously, some people have a lot more, have been challenged a lot more than other
Yeah,
people. But so you can't really, I don't know how you put that on a scale, but it's relative. How does this person deal with life? How have they handled their past failures and successes? And what type of person are they? Are they carrying a lot of their baggage from their old relationships or whatever into this relationship? And how have I dealt with life? And it's just going to work in terms of based on their experiences and how they dealt with them, and my
mm-hmm.
experiences and how I've dealt with them. Can we work it out together?
Well, and you touched on this already, which is another point here in terms of emotional compatibility, is that lifestyle is so important, to all of us. But again, speaking with women, the segment is about what should women know, is that men over 50 as they age, and we too, we tend to be more set in our ways. So if lifestyle doesn't match, you might be heading down the wrong road here. Some of the challenges, and again I'll ask you, but it's, where's he at in terms of career? Is he still working? Is that something that needs to be, melded together? Kids, what he likes to do, how do you want to retire, et cetera, et cetera. Let's talk about that.
I think it's incredibly important because you can really get off on the wrong foot very quickly if you're not in sync with where the other person is, where they want to go, what they want, how they want to spend those years after 50. And everybody has a different idea on that. And if their ideas, even though you like being with them, you go out to dinner, it's fun, and maybe the sex is great or whatever. But if you're not in the same place in terms of where you want to go,
Mhm.
that could, there'll be cracks in the
Yeah.
veneer very quickly if that happens. So I think it's very important to kind of get a read on where is this person in their kind of life journey and where do they want to go right now.
Yeah. And I think for women, especially to understand, I say especially because I kind of fall in that category. I try to or tend to, I should say, adapt to what the man wants. I was raised, I've said this a million times in other segments. I was raised that way. Women, you cater to men, or I get super excited about something that I mean, I haven't done or do, but it's really cool that this guy does. Or then all of a sudden, though, you realize as things go along that I'm not really all that excited about it. So I think that the best piece of advice here is, I think, make sure you enjoy or you could see yourself in the lifestyle that this man has established, because he's not likely to change, or not as willingly anyway as some of us women are.
I think that makes perfect sense. And I think the best relationships after 50, particularly, are those where the each person is an individual and they
Mhm.
bring their own
Yeah.
special ingredients and sauce to the relationship. And when you put it together, you have a really tasty dish. It really makes it work better. Instead of two separate silos, you bring it together and it's better. It's embellished.
Yeah.
You have to have something to bring to the party, and you don't want to put it all on your partner.
Mhm. Right, right, exactly. He wants to be loved and appreciated. Understanding how important that is, that a man needs to feel warm and fuzzy is what they're saying here. Then if he does, if that is elicited through your being together, then that's a positive thing for a relationship.
It's a really good thing, and I think it's kind of a necessity. If they don't feel good about, what when you're together, you want the guy to feel better than when he's just by himself. Obviously, you
Mhm.
can do some things on his own, but when together, everything's even better. That would be the dream scenario. A woman in a relationship with a guy that when I'm with him, his world is better, and he feels that it's better because he's with me. And I think vice versa also. That you want the guy to make you feel like everything's even better when we're together.
Right. They talk about here, bring this up again, the five love languages, that a lot of confusion comes up, especially later in life, any time in life, but also later, because we talk about it here a lot, is that we tend to show love the way that we want to receive it, not necessarily the way the other person wants to receive it. So, look up the five love languages. I always thought it was fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple. That's why it was so popular. And yeah, it's made a difference in people's lives, or understanding how certain
Mm-hmm.
romances and love develop. So anyway, just another little tip there. Sex, of course, is important. It always is. It's important to everyone. It's vital for our health, et cetera, et cetera. But it's not just sex. It's really about, they say here, romance. It's there's being comfortable and compatible in a sexual relationship versus just hey, let's go have an
Wild
orgasm.
abandon. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I agree. I think that's a good thing at any age, but particularly when you're over 50, you want to, it's like a fine wine. You want to have be a little more appreciation and not rush into things quite as much. And the dimensions can be even deeper and more interesting when you're over 50 if you're with the right partner. Where sometimes when we're younger, it's like variety. It's all about for guys, at least I don't want to talk about myself, but variety is a really good thing. But if you're with the right partner, the variety there, you can go deeper with one person than you can go with 12 people if you're with the right person. And I think we should always keep that in mind. And when you're over 50 and you have the right partner, the sex can be just as good, if not better, as when you were younger. And in some ways, it could be a lot better.
Yeah, I 100% totally agree. And I think that is important for women to realize. There's a lot more to, of course, the sexual discussion. We have lots of great segments on that, what all goes into it, what's different, how do we, handle it. But just understanding that the compatibility part of it is so
Yes.
important. That will
Yeah.
definitely, help in
Mhm.
finding that new relationship and making it last. lastly, let's close on this. They talk about uh, that there's a distinct difference, again, talking with women as you're starting a new relationship, between a man who is recently divorced or someone who's going through a midlife crisis. That is something we're going to run into. I mean, I'm sure, I know I have. And how do you assess whether or not the emotional compatibility is there, to start a new relationship? Like, for example, a divorced person may, they may be very hesitant to get into another relationship, or and they need that reassurance. They need reassurance to start again, get out there again. There's certain insecurities associated with that, or they're just willing to, they want to plug up everything that they missed. Lots of stuff to deal with there. What do you think, Robert?
I think that's very valid, very fair point. And every situation is going to be different. And I think people should do, their qualification and their, due diligence to find out, like, where is this person at in life? They're over 50, they've had experiences, how have they been dealing with them? Are they healthy emotionally? Are they going to be fun to be around? Are they still complaining about maybe they had got a bad deal at work or with the relationship, whatever? Are they bitter, or are they, positive about the future? And those are, I think, attitude. What's the person's attitude? That's an incredibly important thing to try to suss out, because it's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's a quiz that you can give people, and I don't know what the exact questions are, but I think you got to get a feel and use your intuition to say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, where is this person at? Is this person happy? Is this person optimistic? Does this person are they inspired? Do they
Mm-hmm.
have a plan? Do
Mm-hmm.
they have goals? Do they love life? And I think those are the questions you want to really ask in terms of
Mm-hmm.
generalities, and then you kind of figure out where they're at and if they're compatible for you. And also, you have to ask yourself those questions too. Let's say, hey, am I a sourpuss or not? What do I need to work on? And
Yeah.
most people are not circumspect, and they don't realize that they are alone. Part of the reason that they're alone is because of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just this,
Absolutely.
that's the sad truth. But a lot of people don't want to deal with that. It's always that other person.
Mm-hmm. They do give a couple of points here to a red flag. If again, talking with women, if this comes across from especially a divorced man, is that, has he only been with women who cheated on him, or always says me, and women cheat on me,
Mm-hmm.
or has the relationship always tanked because it's the woman's fault? And is he kind of, do his eyes wander a lot? That those are definitely red flags, and a lot of that comes through with the recently divorced or midlife crisis. Yeah, like you said, it's all, maybe yes, maybe no. Are those good points?
I think the question to ask, everybody needs to ask themselves, if they're single, is like,
Mm-hmm.
if I had the same type of partner and the same type of partner issues, and if so, have I, not giving a pass to the other person's bad
Mm-hmm.
behavior, but have I done anything to put myself in a position to repeat that process? And that happens very often, where people don't realize that they set themselves up because they're not circumspect, and they put themselves in a position and get the exact same type of partner, and they get the same mistreatment or bad behavior or whatever, and not be, by design, have kind of set themselves up to have that bad situation
Yeah.
happen again. So
Yeah.
we have to take accountability for ourselves in some instances and say, you know, am I screening the right way? Am I overlooking some of the details that are important because I want love, I want to be with somebody, I want this type of guy,
Mm-hmm.
not understanding that that type of guy comes with this type of baggage sometimes,
Yeah.
and puts me in this type of vulnerable, unpleasant situation.
Yeah. Well, that's dysfunctional relationship patterns. We just did a video on that. I'll link to it. Is yeah, it big, huge, 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 huge.
Mm-hmm.
That is comes back down to us, and not necessarily is there something wrong with this guy. A lot of what we talked about, of course, goes both ways. And it really, these are all things that I think women want, men want, etc. Especially as, we want to have fun. We want to have a
Right.
nice compatible existence as we go into, so to speak, our golden years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are out there looking for a guy, think about that. Think about these points. How do they apply to you? Just
I
write down.
agree completely. It should be, dating should be a fun sport. So you want to get some of this stuff out of the way, particularly when you're over 50, because, time is more important. So you don't want to run into, you don't fools rush in, as they say. So you want to take the time to kind of do your qualification. But then when you get in it, have a good time, have fun, love yourself, and be with somebody who's going to love you and treat you, make you feel loved, and make you feel good about yourself.
Yay, I agree. Robert, again, thank you for your time. Always appreciate having you here and your words of wisdom. I will link to all of your information to your book, The Guy's Guide to Love, your radio show, your podcast, which is now all over UK Health Radio, I believe. The link will
So yeah,
be below. And of course, your YouTube channel. So be sure to check that out, subscribe and watch. And Robert, we'll see you again next time on Second Act TV.
thanks.